Today's reading is a very popular song through the years called Here Comes the Sun by George Harrison. Little darling, it's been a long, cold, lonely winter. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun. And I say, it's all right. Little darling, the smiles returning to the faces. Little darling, it feels like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun. And I say, it's all right. Little darling, I feel that ice is slowly melting. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been clear. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun. And I say, it's all right. That was Here Comes the Sun by George Harrison. So that song, how perfect is that song for today? It's the summer solstice. So today has the most daylight hours, i.e. hours of sunlight, than any other day of the year. Here comes the sun. Historically, the solstice is about the triumph of light over darkness, the dawn after the dark night. It's been a long, cold, lonely winter. Here comes the sun. What about the state of our world? We are emerging from a year and a half of disruption from the COVID-19 pandemic. Smiles returning to the faces. Feels like years since we've been here. Here comes the sun. And Father's Day, well, doesn't this sound like a song that a father is singing to his kid? Little darling. If I really think about what picture I see when I read the words of this song, it's a bit cinematic. I see a guy sitting in a park, maybe on a grand staircase in an old historic park or on a bench by a Central Park pond. And he's singing to his child who may have darted off to the swings while he stays seated on that bench. But then we realize he's really singing this to himself, out loud to his kid, but to himself. He's relieved to see the sun, almost like he really didn't think he'd see it again. It's all right is like an epiphany for him. I get a kick out of framing this as a Father's Day song. Who wouldn't want their father to sing this to them, especially if they are confident, their father's confident that it's all right. And how about you? It's the first day of summer. The pandemic's end may be in sight, right? Here comes the sun. Of course, I say it's all right because on this summer solstice, Father's Day 2021, it's all right. Of course, it's all right. The smiles are returning to the faces. It feels like years since we've been here. It's definitely all right. But what about tomorrow? We will have increasingly shorter daylight hours. Yikes, it's almost July 4th, And then summer might as well be over after that, right? Where is that sun anyway? And then it's going to be back to school time. Ugh. And then we're going to head toward winter. And I am so not into winter living. What the heck time was that sun supposed to come again? What do we really believe about this? We've been reading an excellent book for our Tuesday book group. It's called The Course in Miracles Experiment by Pam Grout. And it's a very cheeky, it's almost snarky, but it's exquisitely efficient in its interpretation of A Course in Miracles. So we read the preface together as a class, and then we dove into one of the 365 exercises from the daily workbook, one for each day. So I assumed when we were first looking at this book as a source for the class that these would be real assignments and exercises like we've done in other book discussion groups, journaling, starting difficult conversations about metaphysical topics with our friends and families. Instead, these exercises are barely two-page statements or assertions or summaries of key Course in Miracles concepts. There's no fanfare. There's no roll up your sleeves, be prepared to be confused homework. For instance, we randomly opened the book to the 40th lesson, I believe, the course summarized in 11 words. I thought that would be interesting until I realized that those 11 words were pretty much all there was to that exercise. And those 11 words: the universe has your back, and everything's going to be okay. The universe has your back, and everything's going to be okay. I mean, how here comes the sun is that statement. But also, yes, that's about as basic a metaphysical concept as there is. Totally profound, shockingly simple, and utterly challenging to many of our firsthand experiences. Just listen to the word that pops up for you as I say the words again. Imagine them for you. The universe has your back, and everything's going to be okay. Are you with me? Did you hear it? Did you hear the but pop up for you? The universe has your back, and everything's going to be okay, but insert any resistance to understanding statement here. And this is not new information. The universe does have my back, and everything is going to be okay. How do I know this? Well, I'm standing right here, healthy and happy, leading this service on this auspicious day, which means no matter how much I have twisted or agonized before this moment, in this moment, all is well. But boy, do I want to know this and feel this thing about everything going to be okay all the time. The sun is pretty shady, though, isn't it? Because you know what? Immediately after the length of sun time during the day is going to begin to decrease. We literally have 1 minute of an extra long day before it starts to get shorter. So we get to watch the daylight hours get shorter and shorter and wait for the sun's return. What if it doesn't? I mean, no one ever wrote a song called Here Come the Storm Clouds, and I said, all right. Or Here Comes the Thunderstorm, and I said, all right. Heaven forbid if we have seasonal affective disorder. But as I thought about this song, I began to see a different perspective. So I really only did hear it, even as I was preparing this talk, as a song about relief and hope from this long-awaited arrival or return of that royal fireball itself. And then I thought, well, what if the person singing this song isn't rejoicing in the long-awaited son's return? What if the person singing this song is proclaiming that he is the Son? What if he's decided he ain't waiting? He's gonna be the light that they have been waiting for. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun. And I say, all right. And if you think about my original thought about this song being sung by a dad to his kid, well then, doesn't that make its Father's Day perspective even more moving? Can't you just hear a father saying to a kid who may be despairing over what they had to endure throughout the pandemic, the sequestering, the fear of getting the virus, the fear of losing a parent to the virus? But that father says, little darling, it's been a long, cold, lonely winter. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun, kid. Here comes the sun. What if he wasn't waiting? Should we wait for the light? Amanda Gorman, the nation's first ever youth poet laureate, affirmed to the world with her astounding poem that waiting for the light to appear to us will be in vain. In her closing stanza, she proclaims, when the day comes, we step out of the shade, aflame and unafraid. The new dawn blooms as we free it, for there is always light, if only we're brave enough to see it. If only we're brave enough to be it. So on this summer solstice day, the longest day of the year, this Father's Day, little darlings, I can definitely see the smiles returning on your faces. And yes, it feels like years since we've been this clear. And you know what? We are the sun. We are the sun. We are the sun. And I say, it's all right. Thank you.